You ever heard a group of blue-collar guys standing in the garage say, "Send it"? Used properly and in context, usually there is an old car or a boat or an ATV and guys standing around, and maybe they have, 60% of it put together. Send it. Got four wheels and goes forward. Send it. They're not concerned about the safety protocols or making sure that everything is really ratcheted down, that it ain't going anywhere. They're not concerned if everything is going to work and operate properly. Just send it. We sit here all day and we tinker with everything until the cows come home, and it's never going to get off the trailer, it's never going to get out of the garage, it's never going to leave the shed. Just send it. If you think about it, this is very similar to the Christian church and even our little mission restart here in Petaluma. Despite our best efforts, because we are sinful people, we will never have all of the kinks worked out. We will never have every single problem solved. We may have misgivings in our heart and doubts in our heart. Maybe there's pangs of buyer's remorse about a mission restart. Maybe we thought we knew what it was, but now we're not sure. Maybe there's a disagreement with me, or maybe even somebody else at church. Maybe there's pangs of doubt in your heart that cause you to sit back and wonder to yourself, well, why would anybody ever really want to come here? Why would anybody want to come to this church? What makes this worth anything? If we are expecting to be comfortable, if we are expecting to be safe, if we are expecting to be put together completely, before we go out with the gospel message, it will never leave the garage. It will never leave the shed, and it'll stay on the trailer. Take a little reality check and realize that this is not our message to do with what we want. It's not our message to keep it to ourselves. It's not about our safety level. It's not about our ability to be comfortable. It's not about our ability to keep things easy. As God says through his prophet Isaiah, the word that goes out from my mouth, it will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it. He has sent it to us. If we are expecting to be safe and comfortable and for things to be easy and things to look perfect before we go out with the gospel message, then honestly, we are in the wrong church. We are maybe even be in the wrong religion. Think about the gospel message that we heard from Jesus just a second ago. Did the sower, who was going around with the bag, carefully put the seed where he thought it should go? He threw it on the ground. He threw it on the ground, and some fell on the rocky soil, some fell among the weeds, some fell among the thorns, some fell on good soil. We are called to send it. We are called to send it to our friends and to our relatives and our neighbors who do not yet believe. We are called to share it with those because that is our mission, that is our call, that is who we are as Christians. The Lord has called each and every one of us to send it in each and every one of our own ways. Because we have something. We have something that no ear has heard, but no eye has seen, what no human mind has conceived of on its own. You have it. I have it. Send it. So what is it? Is it this? As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts? Is that it? I remember learning that in Sunday school, catechism class and the like, and oftentimes we focus on that verse as, well, God is so much greater than us, like especially if a tragedy happens or something bad happens. We sit back and we think to ourselves, well, that's just God and His wisdom. His ways aren't our ways. His thoughts aren't our thoughts. It's honestly a misuse of this verse. Because that's not what this is connected to. Even the human mind could conceive of this on its own, that God's ways are not our ways, His thoughts are not our thoughts. You've gotten to know me, you might know that I'm an ancient Egypt history buff. The chief god in the ancient Egyptian pantheon's name was Amun. Amun, in the ancient Egyptian language, literally means the unknowable one. So like an ant trying to figure out what it's like to be a human being, or a dog trying to figure out what it is to be a human being. People can and have arrived at that description of the divine even without the Bible, simply by looking at nature, its complexity and its wonder, knowing that something is out there that is greater than us. Where this kind of falls short, though, is if that is true, and it is, that there is something greater than me, if there is something that is above me, then that means that I am responsible to it. If I owe my existence to something, then I am, by the very definition, I have to serve that thing. I am responsible to it. I am indebted to it. And that in and of itself is a scary thought. It's not something that we really like to think about. Martin Luther used to say, if we say the first line of the Apostles' Creed really without blinking, I believe in God the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth. He said if you really believe that, if we really believe that as Christians, it should scare the life out of us. God is higher than we are. How have we measured up? How have we used our time? How have we managed our relationships? How have we been caretakers of the stewards of the possessions and the blessings and the time that we have been given? How have we been as we have been called into roles as parents, as co-workers, as friends, as neighbors, as church members, as spouses? I have not measured up. I have not been perfect. For if God is higher than the heavens are above the earth, and if His ways are not our ways, and His thoughts are not our thoughts, then we are estranged. We are selfish. We are wicked. We are lazy. We are greedy. What's crazy is that in our heart, in our core of each and every person, whether you are Christian or not, whether you are in church today or not, we know by nature that there is something greater than us, but we act and behave as though we are responsible to no one and nothing. So what should we do then? Well, the world would say, on the one hand, the unbelieving world has its solution: do better, be more charitable, be more kind, be more loving. How much is enough? Is enough ever enough? The world would have us define, enough as, I haven't really hurt anybody. I haven't really killed anybody. I haven't been convicted of some gross crime like a major theft or rape. I should be okay. That is, oddly enough, basically what the prophets of Baal were proclaiming in the days of Isaiah. Well, you love your dog, you love your neighbor, you're good friends, you have your life figured out, you have things set in order. If you have everything set in order and everything is perfect, well, then you should be pretty good as long as you haven't done anything crazy. Pushed out of his comfort zone to the court of kings and poor people alike. Prepared or not, Isaiah, regardless of the consequences, was called to send a different message, a message that is still our heritage today. And I said at the outset that you have something different. We have something different than what the world can arrive at on its own. And this is it. Do you notice what that familiar verse is connected to? My ways are not your ways, my thoughts are not your thoughts. That's not just talking about how much greater God is than you. Let the wicked forsake their ways, and the unrighteous their thoughts. Let them turn to the Lord, and he will have mercy on them, and to our God, and he will freely pardon. As high as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. It is God's mercy that sets him apart. Not just how great he is. It is this unfathomable mercy that God has given to us that is the heart and core of this message. He will freely pardon the wicked, the unrighteous, the selfish, the lazy, the greedy, the adulterer, the murderer. He will freely pardon. How? That makes no sense to me. The wicked need justice. The unrighteous need to do better. The weak need to grow stronger. Oh. We didn't think of this. I didn't come up with this. God did. He chose to call the guilty innocent and the innocent guilty. He chose to punish Christ, the Holy One, for the multitude of the wicked. And beyond all logic, sense, and reason that this world could come up with and muster, he demands nothing from you. He demands nothing from me. There is no amount of sacrifice or devotion or adoration that would ever be enough to match his perfection. I remember sitting in a car one time. Maybe I've shared this story with some of you in passing, but at my former call, I was serving a little preaching station down in Walker, Minnesota. And one night I walked into the church, and there was a guy standing there, Native American man, stood about a head taller than me with a big mohawk, dressed in leather, intimidating guy. And he said something along the lines of, "I'm looking for a ride back to Cass Lake. I've been hitchhiking since Duluth, and I'm looking to get back to Cass Lake." And I said, "Well, hey, I can give you a ride back. If you want to stick around for church, I'll give you a ride back, and it's right on my way back home to Bemidji." And he said, "All right, I'll stick around." So he sat in the back of the church, and the church service happened, and I got in the car with him, and he sat down next to me, and we started driving back towards where he lived. And as he was standing there, or as he was sitting in the car, we were just kind of doing small talk the majority of it, but then he said to me, "Well, that was really different, and I've never seen anything like that before." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, you worship differently than my people do, my people being the Native Americans." I said, "Well, can you explain?" He said, "Well, it seems like we have some nice stories about muskrats pushing stones on beaches. We have some nice little allegories for life and how to do better. But you seem to have something more." And I gave him the gospel in a nutshell. And I said, God doesn't need He doesn't need the way you look. He doesn't need the way you dress. He doesn't need your bank account. He doesn't need gold and silver. Why would he? He doesn't need anything from you to begin with. He freely gives. And his greatest gift is Christ his Son. Something that we couldn't ever come up with. That if you think about the amount of evil that is in the world, think about the amount of evil that existed in your life, sins that you committed from last Sunday to now. Now just maybe the amount this morning. Now multiply that by, what is it now, 8 billion people on earth? Now multiply that by a lifetime. Now multiply that by every human being that has ever existed. What is that number? Trillions? Billions? I don't know. What did we say one in the car? Quintillion? That one's bigger.
Yeah.
That mountain of sin, that number with X amount of zeros behind it, as massive as that is, all the sin and all the evil of all time is drowned, is a drop in the bucket of Christ. It is a drop in the bucket of God's mercy. Because Jesus is God. That's why it's so important that He is God and He is man. Because His blood has eternal value. And all the sin of the world is drowned in it. It is done away with. This is what God has freely given to each and every one of us. His ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. His mercy is the thing that is more. His mercy is the thing that sets Him apart from every other God that has ever been or anything else human beings would come up with in the future. Isaiah was called to send that message of mercy indiscriminately to those who believed in Israel over 2,700 years ago. And chalk it up to divine mystery, no less than the Trinity or the dual nature of Christ. You still have it now. And even as Isaiah was called to send it, regardless of his circumstance, you are called to send it. I am called to send it. Like Isaiah and the prophets and the apostles before us, sending that gospel message will make us uncomfortable. It might tarnish what people think of us. It might take constant work and labor. It might fall apart. We might not have all the fail-safes and safety buttons in place. It might look ramshackle. Send it. The glory of Christ. Amen.